Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of I Love My HBCU ? I have a man with a lot to share with us today. He is Dr. Taavon Bazemore, HBCU made Coppin State University. How are you?
I'm great. A Coppin. Y'all know how we love our university, and we just say A Coppin. Coppin State University. I love my HBCU.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So is there supposed, so I don't have the Baltimore twang or Baltimore accent to go with it. And I love it when I hear the call out. Can you give me the call out with a strong Baltimore accent to it?
A Coppin.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks for letting me just have all these shenanigans this morning. Okay, so Taavon, I kind of just want to get into it. Those who already listen to your podcast probably already know your story. Those who know about your book probably already know about your story. You had started to tell me the story before we hit record, and I was like, hold on. I think more humans need to hear this. I asked you what inspired the book. So if you don't mind, tell us what inspired this book that you wrote. I'm going to be quiet and listen to you.
You know, it's so amazing. I think that the very thing that inspired the book that I wrote is this. It's being able to say Donna Jane Cole every chance that I get, to keep my mom's name alive, to keep her legacy alive. So what truly inspired the book is that my mom, she was a woman who took pride in her family, took pride in her love, but she took pride in her recovery. And if you know anything about recovery and people who are like in NA and, recovering from addiction, sometimes because of the things that they've experienced in life and sometimes the things they've done to their families and through their addiction, they feel unloved, they feel unworthy. Even when they're told that they're accepted, they just feel unappreciated because of some of the things that they did that were connected to their addiction. And so my mom was that kind of woman. She gave herself a lot when she was alive, but she really always, and we had conversations about how sometimes she just didn't feel appreciated. She didn't feel loved. She didn't feel needed. She didn't feel wanted. And so I wrote this book because I wanted people to really get to know who my mom was. I wanted them to get the experience of the beauty and the woman that I got to be raised by, my sister got to be raised by, who had a lot of substance, who meant a lot to a lot of people, especially to us. And I also wanted to be able to talk to people about that journey as the oldest child. When you have to hold your mother's hand, when you're a kid, your mother holds your hand when she's sick. When you're sick, right? She makes you soup, she gives you medication, she takes care of you. But it's something that grows you up when you have to return that favor. At 36 years old, holding your mom's hand through her journey of an illness and knowing very intentionally, knowing she was very intentionally expressing to me that she was done, that the prognosis that she had received, she was okay with it. She was not going to waste her time in the hospital and hospital visits and getting chemo and radiation. She was going to spend her time with her family, and she was going to love her family, and that's what this was going to be. And so I wrote Yaya's Greens, the recipe to healing, because my mother also had some of the best greens in the world. So there is a real recipe that goes with the greens. And so how the book is written and separated in different steps or instructions. So the one thing that me and my sister did, we sat down one day, we were talking, and we were thinking about all the things we were missing about our mom. And we were like, oh my God, we're going to miss her cooking. Like, we're not going to have her food. And so we did a very challenging thing. We sat down with her and we said, Mom, I need you to handwrite your recipes. And she did. And one of the recipes that she wrote up was her greens recipe, the staple of the food that came to all the family gatherings. Everybody ran. They called it Aunt Jean. Everybody ran when Aunt Jean came with her greens. Yaya is her nickname that her grandkids gave her. And so that's why we call her Yaya. So Yaya's greens, the recipe to healing is an idea that the time that it takes to make the best greens, the time that you have to put into it, the effort you have to put into it, that the meat falls off the bones and that the greens are perfect is the same love that she took and the time she took with us to prepare our hearts so that the pain could melt off our hearts so we could accept the fact that she was going to transition in a new and beautiful way. And that same love she put in her recipe, she put into us to prepare us for her transition. That's what Yaya's Greens is about.
Taavon, thank you for honoring me by using your introduction to share who you are as your mother's son. That's what I got when I listened to you. Your mother passed from pancreatic cancer. She buried a son a year before she herself would be buried. And your very first line as you started talking was, you love doing this because it gives you an opportunity to honor her and to speak your mother's name consistently. Anyone listening to this conversation in the short time that we've had it will easily say, this is a young man who knows trauma. And this is a young man who has navigated trauma all too well, like you said. And this might be an unfair question to ask you. And if it is, don't answer it. You mentioned a mother passing from pancreatic cancer. In there, you also said a whole lot. And I know that you lost a brother due to COVID-19 a year before. So this is 2021, 2022. You and I, however, live in a world where the word trauma gets thrown about quite a bit. I'm glad you're nodding your head. Thank you for that. I'm glad you're nodding your head. For somebody like you who has lived and navigated so much trauma, what are your thoughts on the rest of the world when we throw the word around as flippantly as some of us do? And the reason why I'm asking is I know you also have a company that actually deals with this. So that's why I'm asking. So what are your thoughts when you hear the word thrown around the way we do, flippantly?
You know, the unfortunate thing for me is that while I focus, like trauma focus is like the work that we do, but it's always healing centered or resiliency centered, right? Um, Something that is interesting is that one thing that's interesting is that trauma um, is a shared experience across many facets of life, and resiliency and healing isn't. Um, and so, what's interesting is that when I think about how much we use trauma, I sometimes I think that we don't use it enough to really truly understand like how people like, for instance, COVID-19. COVID-19 changed the world, right? It changed a lot of people's lives. And so when I do trauma training, we talk about big T's and small T's. And so big T's are like these massive traumatic events that just debilitate you and just stop you, like one-time experiences.
Yeah.
Or like, and it's something that is like a continuous series of events will be a small T of trauma, right? But
Okay.
COVID-19 could be both of those things. It's something that the world experienced, but I lost two family members to COVID-19, one being my baby brother. And I believe that it's not that we use trauma so flippantly, it's that we use it frequently while trying to remove ourselves from the experience.
Okay.
And we want to be trauma experts, but we don't want to have a lived experience. We don't want to talk about it. We want to treat everybody else trauma. You know, clinicians can't have traumatic experiences, right? Social workers can't go through trauma. That's what called us to this profession for the most part anyway, our own lived experiences. right? And I just think that we tend to forget about the things that encourage us to help people. We kind of step outside of that and we become experts because we are the experts of our own lives, and we can apply that to everybody's life. But no one's experience, me and my sister's experience with the same things are different because we're two different people who perceive and experience and internalize and break down things totally different, raised in the same households. Some of me and my sister talk about our traumas from our childhood. She has no idea what I'm talking about because her response to that was to repress it and forget about it.
Got it.
You know?
Got it.
So I think that the thing is that we use trauma so flippantly with no solution focus to address it. It's just, let's talk about it. Let's
just
put it on
talk about
TV.
it.
Let's put it on all the podcasts. Let's televise it and make it a social media thing. Trauma. But on the back end, it's nothing in the back that's helping people heal from it.
Wow. You said you said a lot, and that hit hard because you said, let's talk about it. And that's what we're all encouraged to do, right? And we're encouraged to do that even from clinicians. You must talk about it. But what I've heard you say so eloquently near the end of that is, but then what?
Exactly.
And the then what is the part that makes people like me feel as if we're treating trauma flippantly, as opposed to it actually being something that is being experienced flippantly by people. Wow.
Yeah, we've monopolized everything. We've monopolized everything. Everything
Yes.
has a monetary connection to it, unfortunately. So it's like when I look at some of these shows and I see these trauma experts who are talking on these shows and are telling people about healing, it's like, yeah, so you unravel all of these people's stuff on TV. Unravel all the brokenness and the hurt and the pain connected to their experience. You unravel this for good television. But then what? You just leave broken people. They're just broken for likes and for views and for publicity and for being noticed. You get all of that, especially with social media today. I mean, God, we just post everything, right? But then what? You bring people on podcasts, bring them on these talk shows and TV shows and all this stuff that we're bringing people on to talk about their traumatic experiences, and then they walk away with nothing. Even if it's a chat, but what healing did they get from that? What healing did they get from that conversation? Why did they talk about their trauma? What was the purpose for them? They walked away and now they just uncover all of their mess in front of all these people that don't know them. But there's no solution. There's no resolution for them. They just go home and that's it. Why am I publicizing my hurt and my pain for you?
Can I write that down, please? Why am I publicizing all of my hurt and pain for you? Damn, this guy's trying to get me to cry this morning. Oh, that's heavy. Okay. I'm going to Dr. Bazemore, why are you trying to get me to cry this morning? I don't want to cry. Okay. I'm going to relate that statement back to why you chose to share your pain and chose to speak of your mother. And it's because you have a recipe for healing. And because you are a trained clinician in this space, I know you just threw the word trauma expert out there, but you actually are a trauma expert with regards to healing. And that's why you chose to publicize some of yours. I'm going to shift gears though, because if I don't shift gears, Taavon, you're going to have Tosin in a puddle of tears. And I don't want to be in a puddle of tears right now. It is I love my HBCU ? And it is the pride of your HBCU that we are also going to talk about. Of course, I have to have us, yes, unapologetically HBCU educated representing Coppin State University. So let me just say this. The Coppin guests that I have don't play. They literally don't play. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, we the school. We from the school on North Avenue. The school on, that's what they say about us. We from the school on North Avenue, and we take pride in being from the school on North Avenue.
I love it. Everyone from Coppin is doing this with you right now. They really, really are. I really appreciate it. Okay, Taavon, I'm going to throw my rapid fire segment at you. Okay, as many questions as I can in 67 seconds, and the clock starts after I read the first question. Are you ready? No trauma questions. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
No
I'm
trauma
ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Taavon, describe your HBCU experience in one word.
Nostalgic.
Nostalgic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. If your time in college was a song, what song would it be, Taavon? Oh, he's thinking about this one. I like it.
Yeah, my time in college was a song. What song would it be? Honestly, it would have to be like an old Baltimore Club mix song. Um, like Hey Riders. Yeah.
Hey Riders. I don't
Yeah.
know that song, but okay.
Oh, it's a Baltimore Club mix house music song.
I love it. I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. What do you like most about HBCUs? Short answer. What do you like most about culture? What do you like least about HBCUs?
Um, mm, Nothing.
You nothing least about HBCUs? I don't
No.
believe you, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't believe you. But I'll take it. If
I
you
mean, what's better than
remember,
HBCU? Nothing's better than HBCU. I mean,
nothing is better.
all of your, it's like when you've been raised in your mama house, you get the good, you get the bad, but it raised you, it brought you up.
I love it. Absolutely love it. If you remember, what was your best meal in college?
Ooh, our cafeteria used to be so lit. We used to have the best food there in our cafeteria.
What year was this?
2000, I was at Coppin from 2005 to like 10. Yeah, we had some
Okay.
good.
Shout out to Coppin's Cafeteria 2005,
Yeah.
2010.
And
Because
then
that's
we
not
had
what I hear all the
then
time.
we had a little food place in our tallest building downstairs in the basement that made really good. Yeah, we had some good food.
I love it. I love it. So, we ate up the 67 seconds. Number
Oh.
one, because you were thinking a lot. And number two, because I was talking too much.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I still want to ask you, because I have to. I think professors and teachers don't get thanked enough. So I always ask you to shout out your favorite professor or administrator or person at Coppin while you were there.
Okay, so I cannot do this without saying that I have to shout the entire staff from 2005 to 2010 of the social work department because they were the best. Dr. Bowden, Dr. Newton Guest, Dr. Valletta Bryant, Dr. Mettinger, all of them, they were the best professors we could have. The best.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. B, I bet they're proud of you.
Yes,
I bet they're proud
I'm
of you.
still connected to Dr. Guest and Dr. Bowden till today.
I love it. I love it. All right, that officially wraps it up. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I actually teach adjunct in the social work department at Coppin.
You can't leave Coppin if you tried, can you? I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. That's love. That's love. So, those who are familiar with Baltimore, those who are familiar with Maryland, Coppin State University is not the only HBCU there. There are a few more. So, Taavon, tell us your college selection journey. How did you select Coppin State University for undergrad?
So to be honest, I originally went to Norfolk State University for a very short period of time, just financial aid and funding was not working for us. We couldn't really figure it out. And so I came home. My aunt is 5 years older than me.
Okay.
So she was like, "You are not. That's not going to be it." So she took me right to the Coppin. When I got back home, she took me right up there, got me enrolled, um, and that's how I got enrolled at Coppin. I just went.
Okay.
It was so crazy because all of my friends went to Coppin. All of my friends were going to Coppin from high school.
So that means after the snafu, I'm going to call
Mm-hmm.
it a snafu, of Norfolk State University. I'm sure Norfolk State University is absolutely amazing, but for yours, it was a slight snafu to start there. It seemed as if there was no other option on the table. It was going to be Coppin, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, because for me, coming from the inner city, after I heard, because I wasn't even thinking about college. So, to be honest, I wanted to graduate, get a job, work, make money, and take care of my family, like help my mother
Mm-hmm.
and my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So my aunt, she went to Virginia State University, and she was like, "No, you need to go to a school." Um, and so I went to Coppin. I mean, there were other universities that were around, but Coppin was like right in the. I'm from West Baltimore, so it's in West Baltimore. It was right in the middle of like where I'm familiar and the things that I was used to doing, so it was easy to navigate.
Got it. That's fair. When you think you are living it, you are proudly a Coppin State University maid. You proudly go back and teach as an adjunct in the School of Social Work. But I want you to think beyond yourself, just to give other people ideas of how they could start giving back or they could start their legacy. When you think of HBCU legacy, what comes to mind for you?
Mentorship, community, networking.
So you don't know this about me yet, but if you watch the podcast enough, you notice that I'm always taking notes because every last guest just teaches me consistently. So as you say some things, I'm really writing them down because they just
Okay,
make sense. You said mentorship. Give me the
community
rest. Community
and
and
network.
networking.
Mhm.
Oh, Tavon, for the benefit of our students who are watching this, so HBCU now, your HBCU made, their HBCU now, what is a good networking tip that you have for them?
I would say that right now, if I were you and you were in, your major, right now, I would definitely get attached to a professor. And so when we were at Coppin, we helped our professors grade papers. We built relationships with our professors. Our professors eventually became mentors for us. So I said Dr. Bolden's name because Dr. Bolden has mentored me from being a student there even up until now. He still gives me advice and he still pours into my existence. And I think that's important for us in college. Um, it's our first level of independence and we still need that community. We still need that support. And so I would say get connected to a professor, not to see how they can help you, but to see how you can help them so that you can start building relationship with them so that they can be there for you when you need them.
Tavon with the quotes. Help a professor. Build a relationship with a professor, not just to see how they can help you, but how you can help them. Tavon, permit me to lean into that for 2 seconds and tell you why I find those words extremely important. I proudly say to my students, and anyone who has had a recommendation letter written by me knows, yeah, she's not bragging. I write the best recommendation letters. But the reason why I write the best recommendation letters is because I make it so specific to you, the person. There's nothing generic about it. But I tell my students, if you just ask me for a recommendation letter randomly and I don't know you, thank you for agreeing with me and nodding your head.
Mhm.
I actually choose not to write it. I am that professor. I say more no's than yeses to recommendation letters. And it's not because I don't want to write it. Most of them think it's, oh, Dr. Tosin is just being mean. She doesn't want to write the recommendation letter. No, it's that I don't know you. And I want to write a recommendation letter that when the recipient reads it, they're like, whoa, whoa, this person knows the person that they're writing of. And you could not have given the most simple tip to get that going. Talk to us after class. Randomly pop in. Ask us, hey, listen, what are you working on? I'd love to work with you on it. Why have we lost that, Taavon? Because I don't see students doing that as much anymore. They seem to be waiting on us to tell them to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, and I continue to reflect back to when I was in school, because even as a professor, now I did a speaking opportunity for Boise State University, and one of the students emailed me and reached out and said, "I would like to work with you. Like, I would like to work with you in whatever you have going on." And I honored her for doing that because you could be connected to me and you could hear all the things that I got going on, and you could say, "Well, I just want to get a ticket to the event." And it's like, okay. Or you could say, "I would like to help at the event." You're still getting in the event for free, right? But you're like, "I want to help." But but your help is also authentic and it's genuine. And I realized, okay, this student is trying to learn something from me. One of my very good friends was a student at Morgan State University who knew that I was a manager at a job that he was going to be hiring for. And so he Facebooked me because he heard about me. He Facebooked me and he was respectful about it. He asked me how could he connect with me, and that was that. He was taking an interview. He got hired. He's always, looked for ways to kind of support me. He got promoted to a supervisor. I have since left and went on to, bigger things, but I always look back and pick him up and pull him with me when I go because of how he approached me as a new social worker in the field, seeing how he could help me. It was nothing about what I could give him, and oftentimes I think that what happens is students have got, I guess students feel alone in some aspects, and they don't use all their resources, like their advice and all the things that are there. Like a lot of times because of life, like we're Black people, we are doing life, and we're trying to navigate experiences and opportunities that other people are afforded without the barriers and challenges that we face, right? So we face different barriers and challenges as we try to do life. And so I think that what happens is that students don't take the time to step outside of the life that they're doing and think about their future and think, okay, so I need to make a connection with Dr. Bazemore now in my sophomore year and not in my senior year when I don't know him and I need a recommendation to our MSW program, right? Because like you said, I can write your recommendation for the few couple of months that I know you, but it's not really going to reflect anything that's authentic about you because I really don't know you. Or you can connect with me in your sophomore year, know me for 2 years, work with me, collaborate with me, network with me, and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. But I'm not just giving you just a nothing recommendation. I'm writing about the passion, the compassion, the purpose that I see in you because of the things you've exuded, the things that you've offered up to me. But, a lot of people believe that transactions, because that's what life is, it's transactional, right? We just believe that it is one-sided. It's about our benefit, our need, the things that we can get. We don't think that we're supposed to deposit things. We just think that we're continuously supposed to withdraw. But if you think about your bank account, if you continue to withdraw without depositing, you're going to overdraft it, right? And then as you make money, as you start to make things that are positive, you're not going to be able to touch it ever because it's always depleted. It's always depleted. That's how relationships work too.
Yeah.
If you walk around and you just continue to take, when it's time for you to try to withdraw again, when it's important, it's depleted because transactions cannot be one-sided.
I'm not even going to add anything. You said it all. B, I hope our students are listening and they I actually even tell them be selfish about it. Because in the example that you gave with the young person who wanted to help you with the event, the reality is, aren't they eventually helping themselves by learning the how behind the scenes? We're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there. He said there's nothing he liked least about Coppin State University. But I'm going to ask this question a slightly different way. And the reason why is because, listen, so you should know this because you're in a field that you are required to see the good through the bad no matter what. So I respect you for that. But sometimes let me not say bad, the challenging, see the good through the challenging no matter what. But you also have to account for the challenging, right? So in that vein, when did your HBCU make you the most frustrated and how? He's going to tell me he was never frustrated at Coppin
Oh,
State University.
at the end, because as we got to the end, kind of like finding financial aid at the end and just getting the money together and preparing for graduation. And, it's always that stuff they find at the end that just complicates everything.
Got it.
For me, it's like,
Really?
come on, I've been in school for 4.5 years. Why y'all find out this now?
Now.
Like this is complicating now when I'm trying to graduate and I'm trying to move on and go to the next phase. It just makes it difficult. And I don't know what it is about, our HBCUs, the procrastination and the losing things and the misplacing stuff and just all of that craziness that happens at our schools. It's just the delays and everything. No deadlines are ever met except for when we got to turn our papers in. You wait for things extensive amounts of times that you're in HBCUs. That was probably the most frustrating.
That was frustrating. Absolutely.
I need things to be handled. I need things to be in order. So when I have a plan and it gets deviated from, it's like, and it's not my fault. It's like, how did this happen?
There we go. Okay. So my hope is that they're getting a little bit better because even with me, I know I triple copied things, Taavon, because I knew, and it didn't matter, Kentucky State, Howard University, I triple copied things because you were not going to tell me that I did not have my paperwork when you gave me the paperwork. Exactly. But then magically, oh no, Tosin, no. So, okay, okay, you gave me one, but it's mostly a great experience for you. Yeah. Taavon, finish this sentence for me. Because of my experience at my HBCU, I will not.
Because of my experience at my HBCU, I will not. I won't forget my friends. Like I don't forget my friends. So as I elevate in business and success, I always remember the people that because one of my best friends, we became friends at Coppin State University. Elisa Tyler. She is the CEO of Diamonds on the Rise. She started that when we were in undergrad. She is an LMSW as well. And I remember her starting this program, and I'm on the board of directors, but we never forget each other. Like I will never forget my people. And I'm not talking about, my people, but I'm talking about my people. The people that like really made my HBCU experience great. The ones that, ran to class late with me, the people that, did late assignments with me, the people who cried with me, who were frustrated with me, the people that were excited about graduating with me, the people who did papers with me and looked up citations and all that stuff with me, people that are still pushing me till today. I will never forget my people. And I will never forget to reach back and pull people with me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Because of my HBCU, I will not forget my people. I love it. Taavon, it is impossible for us. It's impossible for me not to imagine that you've got some exciting things that you're working on. is there something that you're working on that you would love to bless the audience with before we leave? Or just something that's on your mind that I may not have covered? Because I went from almost crying to getting us back on track with the HBCU conversation. So is there something that in my own space I did not get to touch on for you that you'd love to share with the audience before we leave?
I really just plug Yaya's Greens, the recipe for healing. And I plug it because in the reality of it is that, people are experiencing some hurt and some pain in life and trying to navigate that experience. I had a lot of people on social media and friends who lost their moms and, or lost their dads. And I did not have the greatest relationship with my dad, but me and my dad are close. But it is something about a Black mother. And, I make no apology in saying what I'm saying. There is something about a Black mother, but there's something about a Black single mother who raises a Black man the right way.
Hmm.
My mother never had negative things to say about my dad, regardless of whatever his flaws were. She raised us to respect, revere, and love our fathers, regardless of their relationship. She never turned us against our fathers, right? My mother never complained. She did not have a lot, but she never complained. She never complained, right? And so when I think about just my life and I think about the things that I've experienced in life, the things that I've gone through in life, Yaya's Greens is really, really about healing because something happens when you lose a Black mother. When you lose your mom, your Black mom, you lose a lot of essence in life. There's this picture, it's a picture of the Pink Panther, and he has a pink bucket and he has a pink paintbrush. And one side of the picture is all pink, and the rest of the picture is dull. And it says, my life without my mother seems so dull. And that hit me so much because when I think about the colorful parts of my life, they've been that way because my mom has always been cheering me and rooting me and shouting me in the background, right? And without her, I have to still remember that encouragement, remember that motivation, remember that support. And I could only do that. By honoring the woman that she is. And so Yaya's Greens is important to read because you get to see a Black son and mother's relationship on preparing for transition.
Yeah.
And a transition that was inevitable, but
Yeah.
one that we did not want to accept, but we had to.
Taavon, that's powerful. And I appreciate you, especially with your expertise, for sharing that with the world. Because you're sharing, in so many words, you're also sharing your healing journey with the world. And as you're sharing your healing journey with the world, you're inviting the world to heal in and of itself. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
Taavon, leave our audience with a parting word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
I love HBCUs because I believe that our professors and our administration and our staff, they lead with the things that are important to our community. They lead in our interactions with the things that are important to our community. They look beyond a student. I was a struggling poor student in college, and I had professors who had snacks for me to give to me because they knew that I was a struggling poor student. And you can only really get that in an HBCU because HBCUs are about connection, networking, and community, right? And you can only get that at an HBCU.
I'm not going to add a single word to that. Dr. Taavon Bazemore, it has been my pleasure to have this conversation with you today. I know that my audience who watches and listens to this episode is going to like this episode because of you. I appreciate you. I am overwhelmed with I'm overwhelmed with a lot of the gems that you've poured into me, and I know the audience are going to feel poured into as well. So, on that note, yours in HBCU love, Taavon Bazemore. See you next week. Everybody else, please don't forget to subscribe to I Love My HBCU wherever you get your podcasts. Taavon, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst, of course, holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.